Hello, everyone. Welcome to LIFEedge, episode number 4. And today we've got a guest, second guest. I'm joined today by Susan Nash. Hey, Susan, how are you?
Good. Hello.
We're starting a little bit late today. We had some Skype issues, but we are back to good again. Here's our intro. And we are back. Susan, would you like to do the honors of introducing our guest today?
I would love to. I'm highly pleased and thrilled and everything else, all the superlatives, to be able to introduce Dr. Jeff Kissinger, who is Director of Learning Development and Instructional Design at Rollins College in, actually it's near Orlando, but it's actually a different town. It's Winter Park, Florida. Beautiful place, fabulous college, great programs, extremely innovative. Very lucky to have Jeff because he is a leader and an innovator and everything great, including skateboarding.
Well, welcome,
well,
Jeff.
Thank you, Susan. I don't know how to, maybe I'll live up to that intro. And thank you, Rick. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Susan?
Okay, so I don't know where Rick is gone, so
I'm right
I will
here.
just jump in here. Hello, Rick.
Hi there. We're just trying to get everyone on. Everything is good. Let's get back to this shot. Sorry about that.
So yeah, we're in Winter Park, Florida, which is just outside of Orlando, and very picturesque and nice sunny day out today. It's not raining. I rode my bike into the college, and hopefully I won't get wet with rain going home, and maybe do a little skateboarding after work today. So looking forward to it.
That's great. Well, Jeff, I was really excited that you were willing to be on the program because I really enjoy having having worked with you for a number of years. I'm very impressed with your ability to stay cutting edge with not just instructional design, but also instructional technology and new sort of technologies, approaches, making learning really effective. And I was wondering if you have some things that you've seen that are really catching your eye right now.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. You and I have worked together for years. Gosh, I think it's been probably close to 10 years, I would think.
I think so. Yeah.
And it's been great, and I've been happy to kind of collaborate with you over the years, and where you're bringing me into different things, and I brought you into different things, whether it's mobile learning or standard course development or online courses or teaching online, and most recently the instructional design program that we've launched here at Rollins College at the Hamilton Holt School. So what am I interested in right now? Anything that really changes how effective we can be at creating learning and learning environments. The ed tech space I'm finding very interesting right now. A lot of interesting things happening with moving away from a textbook, sort of disaggregating the textbook, not just going to a digital sort of medium, but looking at the real interactive learning affordances of doing that. Sure, mobile learning I think is a piece of that, and sort of not being shackled to a particular place and location. But I think it's sort of that social interactivity that we can begin to look at and harness for learning and instructional design. We just finished the third course in the instructional design program that you're also teaching in, Susan. And students really were addressing how that sort of omnipresent connectivity with their social network, with that technology that's personal, that's always with them, and how that might influence their decisions as instructional designers.
I like that. Yeah, and like one of the things that I've noticed that you're really good about keeping going is the notion that students can apply what they learn right away And so, like, walk me through, like, walk us through how that might work exactly. For example, say somebody they're taking a course and they want to be able to implement mobile learning, but do it effectively and also using social networks in their workplace. Let's say maybe they work in a place called Moosehead Coffee. How would they do that?
Yeah. So, again, thinking about the instructional design program that you and I and another colleague are teaching in and created, I think back to our initial conversations that you and I had, and I was really thinking, wow, wouldn't it be great if we could create a applied learning experience where individuals from various walks of life and educational sectors and training sectors, corporate training, higher education, K-12, could come together and do some real, authentic, applied learning in instructional design and training. And what would that look like? What we've tried to do is we've tried to create project-based learning assignments where the student and the individual is required to kind of bring themselves as a professional. So far in the program, we've got a lot of folks who are in the corporate training space. The world has kind of exploded when it comes to e-learning. You get online and you see e-learning positions for Domino's Pizza and for Harvard and everything in between. So there's a huge need for it. And, a lot of programs out there are great. There's a lot of places to learn this informally or in a degree-seeking program. But I don't necessarily think that that it fits every need out there. And I felt that there was a need, through our interactions over the years, Susan, hiring designers, working with faculty, working with learning professionals, that there was a need for a contemporary applied set of learning experiences that culminated in with the creation of real, authentic things that one could put into a portfolio and then get that consulting job that they're looking at, or begin to level up in their career and explore other opportunities, regardless of whether they come from higher ed, K-12, or the corporate training space. And I know that in this program in particular, you, myself, and another colleague, we all have those experiences throughout the years, and we all also know who has been successful in those teams that we've worked on. And we really wanted to help prepare that next generation of instructional designers to be successful regardless of where they're at in their careers and where they want to be. So that applied, authentic, immediate application, the ability to possibly work on a training plan, a mobile training plan, or an actual piece of training or learning that they could apply in the workplace, that is really what we wanted to focus on. And what we've seen in the program are multiple examples of students really doing that. One student in particular used Moodle, and she's in the technological pharmaceutical space at a startup here in Orlando, Florida, and she created a knowledge network, a training knowledge network in Moodle for their dispersed population of doctors and health professionals. So it's really great to see sort of students, applying, learning, and then, the real outcomes in their professional lives, in their organization, as they pursue the program. The next course is the Learning Technologies course, and we're getting into more creating and more doing. Taking the plans and taking the things that they've been doing and sort of creating from there. And that's really what we want to see. The courses are not incredibly long. They're 1 month long courses. The goal really is to have students apply what they're doing, hopefully something that's going to be used in their professional lives or context now. But it's been really a lot of fun, I think. We're trying to create a community. It's a cohort model. And I think the difference between a lot of the things that you and I saw as we were researching various programs is sort of the immediacy. There's a lot of going on in terms of competency-based. How can I immediately apply this knowledge and these skills? Code School here in the backyard in Orlando, has been doing that very, very well in terms of learning how to code Ruby on Rails with their groundbreaking Rails for Zombies competency-based sort of gamified course. They were recently bought by Pluralsight. So there's an interesting, thing going on in learning in general, and there is an interesting thing going on in ed tech here in Orlando as well. So it's been a lot of fun, and I think that you've brought a lot of creativity, as you always do, Susan, in terms of using story and narrative and anchored instruction. You mentioned Moosehead Coffee, and I laughed. Well, Moosehead Coffee, it's a story and a theme that kind of runs throughout the courses. And we're trying to demonstrate the use of and the value of story and anchored instruction in the program. So it's been wonderful. Our second cohort is coming up in September, and I'm just looking forward to finishing out the first cohort and going forward. So.
Now, Jeff, you mentioned that.
Almost consulting or quick question for you, Jeff. And this is just something that came out of, I'm in Denver, Colorado at the American Association of Petroleum Geologists Annual Convention. We wrapped up yesterday, but I'm in charge of a lot of different liaising and different programs. And one is field safety. We have a course in field safety because we have field seminars that go out to different places like Bahamas and Rocky Mountains, and so safety is huge. But the problem is that people just kind of check the boxes and they don't really internalize safety. But one of the things that I love about your approach is that you are always focusing on collaboration and also using technology that takes you into the wild. So here's my question. Okay, so one of the things that's really hard to get people to do is the students that are going out on the field trip is to really pay attention to safety issues. So I was thinking, why don't we have a digital inspection and every single person goes in with their handheld and they have to take a picture of their shoes, they make sure they're not wearing sandals, they have hiking boots, the checklist stuff, and then they collaborate and then collectively go around in the van and check out and make sure there's the different elements like your rearview mirror or first aid kit, snake bite kit, of course. Do you think that would work? I mean, I was thinking cloud-based, but then what if they don't have, I don't know, what if they don't have connections?
Yeah, I like the idea of using their real context, and I think I obsessed about that a lot. I think the students environment. I think that student-generated content, that's personal, it's authentic, it's relevant. I think that's engaging. I'm much more of a fan of that authentic learning artifact or example than something that's sort of artificial and sort of produced. Certainly, those type of things have their place, that kind of media, but the ability to just authentically, in your own space, create something that then is shared with your learning community, I think that's powerful. It's powerful, I think, because it connects with the other students. Maybe they're at their level, or maybe they're similar in terms of who they are demographically or learning aspirations. But it's the authenticity of that, I think.
Could you gamify it also a little bit? Just add some gaming in it? Give everybody a prize or make them compete for something?
Yeah. I mean, it just depends on how it's applied and what is the topic or the objective that you're trying to achieve, and what you're going to accept evidence of that achievement and the purpose, really. I think it's a motivational method. It's engaging. I sort of am obsessed with authentic learning, and when I teach, the class I was teaching last night here at Rollins, the Contemporary Teaching and Learning course, which is in the Master's of Liberal Studies, it's mostly teachers at state colleges, community colleges who are taking the course, some K-12 teachers, and I really, as any good teaching does, I really put myself into the examples in the course and embody it, and I create that instructional presence. That presence, using your example, if you're talking about student-generated content or materials or examples, they're interjecting themselves into that as well when you're talking about student-generated content and examples and things like that too. So I think that's the core of what you're talking about. And I think that when I think about what you do, Susan, and the various things and videos you've done and your blogging throughout the years, you absolutely embody the things that you're talking about or espousing or discussing. And I think that that's powerful. It's that story, it's the authenticity, it's the realness. And the last thing I'll say about that is that's a huge sort of area of interest when you're talking about the learning environment. I recently reviewed a manuscript on teaching presence in blended courses. And that is something that we all need to be kind of focused on, because if you're present, regardless of the modality that we're in right now, we're certainly present in this Skype. I think that engages and that promotes learning. So you could gamify it. It depends on how you've set the framework of the course or the activity, and how you're gonna gamify it. What do you consider gamification? Is it rewards? Is it more of a strategy sort of game? Are you gonna do badges and micro credentials and things? Those things don't have to be technologically complicated. Lee Shelton's book, the Multiplayer Classroom, is a wonderful example of various case studies where the technology that's not the point. It's really the idea and the sort of the metaphor of gaming, and the rewards that you get. And anyway, his book is great.
And Jeff, if you had to put on a crystal ball or your Carsoni cap or whatever, what do you think is one of the biggest things that's going to happen in training over the next, let's say, 5 years? You've got things like Microsoft's HoloLens, which could put you into a virtual holodeck kind of environment. That's coming, and some of the training implications could be huge on that one. But what do you see as really things that are going to change and make training much more interesting, lively, and like you said, relevant and real, authentic?
Yeah, I think the biggest change that we're already seeing is as sort of the employee-centered. If you think about student-centered, maybe it's the employee-centered training. Your knowledge networks. Designing learning experiences that might, through mobile and social instructional designs, might bring that individual in the organization interject more of themselves and contributing. I think that that's going to be to kind of take the idea from Internet Time Alliance and work is learning, learning is work. I think that your contributions to the knowledge network, your participation, that's going to be part of your responsibility and part of how you grow professionally. And I think that that's going to become more and more common in pretty much every industry. I think that mobility and the social aspect is key. Just finishing this one course, we had some folks in the corporate training space, some that were doing some new innovative things, and some that were doing sort of virtual instructor-led training. But I think it stretched a lot of them to kind of ask the question, well, why are we continuing to do this, and how effective, and how do we know we're being effective, and what about some of these new things that are happening? What about this computer that's always with me? Can that be harnessed for teaching and learning? So I think that you're going to see some change in that direction. In terms of radical things like you mentioned, I don't know. I like Google Cardboard and the sort of DIY use of your phone in a way that might be more immersive, more emotional. I think that could be interesting. It really depends on your goal and what you're trying to achieve when it comes to learning. Is there a need for that immersive element? I know years ago a lot of higher ed folks were obsessed with Second Life because of the novelty really of it, not so much how it could be applied or needed for learning. And then I'm really intrigued with LinkedIn and Linda getting together. There's been folks who have written about this a little bit. The sort of Uberizing of higher ed, and what happens when something like that happens, when you have all of the data about every profession and every career, and then now you have some materials that can be aligned to those, and some way of showcasing that. That to me, Code School here in Orlando does really well. And you can go through a program, a learning program that's fun, it's engaging, it's gamified, immediate feedback, and then go code Ruby on Rails and make a good living. So I think there's a lot of change, like plate tectonic shifts in education and training. If you're talking specifically in training, I think that you're going to see a lot more mobile and social knowledge networks and things like that, and maybe moving away from those very, kind of traditional virtual instructor-led, sort of didactic, trainer-centered models, and more focused on the learner. Susan, what do you think?
Sounds like we're in for a good time.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree.
Now, we're going to have to cut this show kind of short because you're about to fly off somewhere.
I'm going back home.
Yep.
Back to Oklahoma. Going back to the floodlands. You know what? It rained 24 inches, 24.39 or something, 24 inches in Norman. The normal in May. The normal is like 4 inches.
Wow, and we need a lot here, so send it over our way because we're in a drought. So
happy to do so. And you know what, Jeff, send some Nile monitor lizards our way, especially if they can eat feral hogs. Oklahoma has a population of 500,000 feral hogs, and the population of the state and people is only like 3.5 million.
Wow. Anyway, Jeff, we'd love to have you back on. Maybe give you more time next time. We actually had more time today, but we ran into all sorts of Skype issues, and we did get them resolved. Upgrades. Be careful with Mac upgrades on Skype.
Great.
Anyway,
Is Jeff still here?
I think we just lost Jeff.
Oh, well.
Well,
Jeff,
anyway, you know what? We'll have him back
great.
on another time. And Susan, you have a safe trip back home. And hopefully you get a canoe when you get to the airport so you can get to your home with all that rain. Oh, my gosh. And for all you people watching the recording, please click the like button. That's the thumbs up, or subscribe. We really want to see you subscribe because then we know you're there, and we'd like to get your feedback too. Always good to hear from you.
Is Jeff back? I want to say thank you, Jeff. You're great. And Jeff is definitely a leader. I think it's worthwhile following his blog and also his thoughts. He posts a lot of things in different places like academia.edu.
Thank you, Susan. This is very interesting today. Rick, thank you so much again for the invite and the questions. It was very interesting.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you again. And again, for all you people watching, subscribe, and we'll see you next week on Life Edge. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Safe travel, Susan.
Thank you.